and this here may be tough to you. Snack cake to me, yeah, more hostess. This been overdue forever. Asked me when it was dropping, said never. Should've made you cut the feta, but I designed it Freemason Margiela.
What's good, it's Shellitronnn here, the most woke, no joking. I'm back out again with a brand new video, and I'm gonna keep it up, Bowberry Biscuit. I had 2 videos planned for today that were supposed to drop, but after seeing these 2 moves the Panthers just made, I'm gonna have to make those videos come out tomorrow, Tuesday. So you get a double upload tomorrow. With my thoughts on how the Panthers are gonna be looking going into the future of the season, all that kind of stuff. But look, these moves the Panthers just made are actually mind-blowing. And there's 2 very, very important things to keep your mind on track here. Maybe actually 3. But I'm gonna focus on 2 things. But before I get into all of that, let me just go ahead and tell you what the actual news is. The Panthers just waived CJ Anderson. No one's surprised? Or you, hey, behind you. Person behind, are you surprised? No one's, okay. Honestly, my biggest question is, why now? And why not earlier? I'm trying to figure out why exactly did we sign CJ Anderson in the first place. I've been asking that same question for the last several weeks. I'm not saying because he was a bad player or because, I didn't believe in him, because I thought he was going to be good. I was actually very excited when he first got signed to the team. After seeing us not use him for so long, it kind of felt like someone in the front office heard from someone that someone in the NFC South was going to sign CJ Anderson at some point. So we signed him ourselves on a kind of a lowball deal. So that someone else couldn't pick him up. But it doesn't make sense because the Saints already had Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram, although Mark Ingram had that 4-game suspension. The Falcons have 2 running backs. Ronald Jones is pretty good for the Bucs. The Bucs have a decent, they have 1 good running back, honestly. They could have used CJ Anderson, but I don't think we were really all that worried about the Bucs too much this season to actually make a signing just to block them off. I think our biggest worry was the Falcons and the Saints. So it didn't make too much sense, honestly, for us to pick him up just to block him from being signed to someone else in our division. But it was also kind of strange that we just never used him. There were games where he got 1 snap. There were games he got no snaps. There were games that were blowouts. We were pretty heavily ahead of the teams that we were playing against, and Christian McCaffrey was still getting inside runs. Especially in that Ravens game, it was like a minute left in the game, and we were running between the tackles with Christian McCaffrey. Like, why? I was wondering, what is it about CJ Anderson that our team, our coaching staff, our front office doesn't like? He wasn't getting any kind of snaps. Now, he did have that 1 tip pass that got intercepted in, I think it was week 3, I believe it was. But it's kind of hard to find everything he could give us off of that 1 moment. I think CJ Anderson could have had a much bigger role in this team. But I think that the team just realized, we have Christian McCaffrey, and we don't really need another running back out there. We can probably find someone else, maybe find something for our O-line, maybe find, a journeyman in the DB department, maybe find someone in the secondary, maybe even look at some guys to back up in the linebacker role, maybe some edge rushers. I don't know. While I was reading that article and trying to figure out why and when and how, and just what exactly was the mindset of the Panthers, more news came down. And I mean more news that was actually very, very telling. It explained everything that I needed to know. The Panthers ended up signing Travaris Cadet. Now, who's Travaris Cadet? Doesn't honestly matter too much. He could be nice. I'm going to be real with you. I don't know too much about him. He's basically a journeyman kind of guy. Came in the league in 2012. He's been on several teams, including the Bills. He was on the Jets for a while, but he was on a 3rd team. 3rd team. I did too. He was on a 3rd team. And that 3rd team is the team he spent the most time with, and that is the New Orleans Saints. Look, this is a play straight out of Bill Belichick's playbook, and I promise you, this is why I picked this guy up. At some level, and I don't know just how big it is, we had to have picked up this guy, Travaris Cadet, to find out and to pick his brain about what the signals are, what kind of plays the Saints run. These are the kind of things that teams do. They pick up guys a little bit before they play these other teams. They have to play later on this season, especially divisional rivals, and try to ask them, what are their signals, what are their tendencies, what about this guy right here? We have our scouting departments, we have our coaching staff, we have guys dedicated to finding out that kind of stuff. But if you can get it from a former player who honestly has no loyalty to that team at all, you're getting paid by us now, so, you may as well give us the playbook like Steve Smith did for the Ravens. And at first glance, I did think that was the whole story. So, okay, this guy played for the Saints most of his career. We can find out a lot about the Saints from this guy, tendencies, play calls, that kind of stuff. But then I look at his stats, and this guy, Travaris Cadet, really could be the perfect fit for the Panthers. Now, most running backs have more rushes than receptions. This guy does not. This guy is basically a receiver playing running back since 2012. He has 49 total rushes, which is kind of ridiculous, honestly. Less than 50 rushes. That tells you a lot. But he has 118 receptions on 156 targets. So he has a really strong reception rate there. And he has almost 1,000 yards receiving for kind of a journeyman kind of guy who doesn't get in the game very much. Doesn't really start very many games at all. He's only started 3 of 72 possible games, which is very telling about, just about where he is. But, I mean, he's a pretty good receiving running back. And that just fits in with what our MO is for our offensive scheme. Fast, quick guys who can line up anywhere on the field. I mean, we know about Christian McCaffrey. We have DJ Moore who can kind of fit that kind of role. We have Curtis Samuel who basically is that kind of player. Demir Bird doesn't really get into our offensive scheme too much, but he can kind of fit in that scheme as well. Our skill position guys on offense are not really just running backs or receivers. These guys are football players. These guys are athletes. These guys are playmakers. And Travaris Cadet definitely fits that mold for our scheme and our team right now. Pick up a guy like this shouldn't be that much of a surprise to me, just given the state of our offense and the way that we're rolling. It seems like it's more now we've switched to our offense carrying our team more so than the defense being the big anchor of the team, and our offense just being like, do what we do, don't make mistakes, and let the defense be dominant. There's kind of been a switch there because, Luke hasn't been playing the same way he's been playing in previous years. I'll get to that in the video tomorrow. So while it shouldn't be really the most surprising pickup, it did kind of surprise me a little bit because of all the moves we're making before. What with, we restructured Mario Addison's contract. I think it was last week, maybe 4 or 5 days ago, honestly. The Panthers went ahead and converted $2.5 million of Mario Addison's contract to be a signing bonus, which gave us $2 million of cap space, which I think puts us at about $3 million of cap space here. And I don't know how much the Travaris Cadet's going to be getting paid here. I honestly don't think very much. Probably about the minimum, probably about $500,000, $600,000. That's about what we were paying C.J. Anderson. Because why would we even convert Mario Addison's contract right now when we didn't really have to, unless we're making a much bigger move than this? So I'm thinking that all of this is a really big move. We weren't using C.J. Anderson. Don't know why, don't know how. But he wasn't really a pass-catching threat. Travaris Cadet is. So it's kind of confusing to me because, although C.J. Anderson isn't a pass-catching threat, he could have been used a little bit more in the running game. Although he is more of a volume running back who needs to get his touches to get up ahead of steam and to get that his game going. And we couldn't take touches away from Christian McCaffrey and relegate him to becoming a pass-catching only type of running back because he also needs his rushes to get his game going. And Travaris Cadet, because he's more of a journeyman kind of guy, his game isn't really predicated on him getting a ton of carries and a ton of touches. He can produce in spurts and in spots. And that's what's really going to be handy for us because we don't really need a heavy downhill runner because when Christian's on, he's on. We need more threats through the air so these defenses can't really come at us so hard and so heavy and that they never know what's really going to be hitting them at any given time. So while this is actually a very interesting pickup for us and a very interesting drop for us to get rid of C.J. Anderson, it also has me wondering a lot, what is the next move? I just don't believe this is the last move we're going to make. Sure, we can get what we can get out of this man for the signal calling from the Saints, and we can also get him some good production probably here and there in the pass game, maybe in the run game as well, in jet sweeps and whatnot. But this really has me thinking with the move we made with Mario Addison, are we just clearing up space for next year? Or are we actually making another move later on for this year? And honestly, I have no clue who it would be. Who's available now that we actually need on our team? I'm thinking maybe an edge rusher. Our D-line isn't really getting that much of a push. I mean, we have Mario Addison, obviously, who's getting that push up there. But I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is. I don't want to say it's O-line because our O-line's been doing very well consistently. Just not with that Steelers game. But they have a really good pass rush. And I don't think we need much more help on the O-line. I'm trying to figure out why did we open up that cap room for Mario Addison? That's not really the focus of this video, but seeing us make all these moves in close succession with each other make me really think there's a much bigger move on the horizon. Cadet's going to be a good player for us. I think we can get a lot of, maybe not a lot, but a decent amount of production out of him that's going to be useful for our team down the stretch, and especially against the Saints. But I'm trying to figure out exactly what the next big move is going to be. C.J. Anderson, thank you for your service. My good man, I couldn't really tell you what that service was specifically, but I do appreciate you sticking through here. You're on Twitch a few times. didn't really answer my questions when I asked you questions on Twitch, my brother. But still, I want to say thank you for, being a Panther. But just know that I always thought you'd have a much bigger role in the team and you'd be, a bigger part of the Panthers than what you were. I can't call it for what it was. Honestly, I have no idea what happened in that situation. You're not watching this video. But either way, this is a pretty good pickup. Couldn't really call what the next move's going to be. So I really want to know what y'all think. What are your thoughts on TJ Anderson being gone and this Travaris Cadet guy being here? I would look at highlights, but there's honestly not very many highlights of Cadet. So in the comments below, definitely let me know what your thoughts are. And you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Being told y'all I been the man. Being told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.